Welcome to Strongbrook Radio, leveling up with today's thought leaders. What you're about to hear are powerful insights, entertaining stories, and life-changing principles from some of the most innovative minds in the world today. This is Strongbrook Radio. All right, everybody, welcome. This is Stephen Michael Miller with Strongbrook Radio, your host today, and always so welcome. So glad to have you here with us again. If this is your first time tuning in, we are here to talk to some of the most innovative minds, like we said, inspirational thought leaders, mentors, authors, speakers, individuals who are experts in their fields and have figured out things that others, they had problems in their lives they tried to figure out that they were working on, and they found solutions. I think that's one thing that is valuable for anybody, is to learn from somebody who has been there and done that and found a solution, giving us a shortcut or a way to accelerate our progress. And so excited to be here on the show today. And I'll tell you, I've got just an amazing individual here with us today, a woman by the name of Kathryn Ford. And before I bring her on, I do want to give her a proper introduction. Kathryn Ford is the founder and president of Excellence Institute, which is the premier training center for living a life of excellence. She's an award-winning master life coach, consultant, speaker, and author, specializing in health and well-being, maintaining youthfulness, and living a life of excellence. The Institute's philosophy is that we can all live a life of excellence no matter what. And Kathryn gives you her blueprint for making this transformation happen in your life. So Kathryn has an extensive background in coaching and has attended continuing education through Harvard Medical School's Coaching and Leadership and Healthcare program. She is also a member of their Institute of Coaching Professional Association. Through her coaching program, she teaches essential tools and methods that allow people to live a life they love living. And really excited to have Kathryn on here. She brings 26 years of personally facing a serious chronic health condition. She successfully navigated the challenges in order to effect necessary change in her own life. And this has really allowed Kathryn to thrive and live a life that she loves. Now, Kathryn lives by the principles that she teaches daily and is a great role model and mentor for her clients. These firsthand experiences have allowed her to develop a 7-step system, Oceans of Wellness, which is a fountain, Oceans of Wellness, a fountain of youth, which is an ocean lifestyle for your inner world. This powerful system is vitally important because it's what takes place in our inner world directly that affects the aging process. The program has proven to be life-changing for her clients in every aspect. And in 2015, Kathryn also was featured as a monthly writer in the international magazine Sybil magazine. In addition, Kathryn's book, Be Well, a 7-step system for radical healing, will be released on February 10th of 2016, so she's working on that right now. She's a highly sought-after master life coach and consultant, a professional speaker and author. Kathryn offers audiences around the world inspiring workshops. Her transformational, in-depth coaching program supports clients in achieving full-spectrum wealth in all areas of their life. And Kathryn's focus is to support her clients in living the life of their dreams, no matter what circumstances they're currently facing. So excited to have Kathryn here on the call with us. Kathryn, are you there?
I am. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Oh, Kathryn, great to have you here. And, before we get into too much, I'd love to just get personal here. Do you have, I ask different mentors different things, but I think we've all been inspired by different people, different authors, different speakers. What is one of the greatest books that you've read in the last little bit that's really inspired you? Let's just say the last couple months.
Wow. Well, I am an avid reader, and I'm reading so many different things right now. But I found myself going back into some of the beautiful pieces of work that I've read in the past. I'm a huge Wayne Dyer fan. He was one of the first inspirational people in my life. And one of the things that he said, and he says it in many of his books, is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that for me was life-changing. It really was, when I realized that we all have this power that we can tap into that is beyond our physical, beyond our senses, beyond, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So,
is there a specific book by Wayne Dyer that you just love, that you keep on gravitating towards?
Oh gosh, I would have to say maybe Wishes Fulfilled. That's an awesome book because that really brings out the power that we all have within us.
Awesome. I love that. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Sure.
So talk to me a little bit about your experience. And before I get into really what you're doing here professionally right now, I'd like to just understand where was that breaking point for you? I think that we all face different challenges in life, and I think that we all, experience trial. Obviously, we have to learn how to overcome that.
Right.
And I think for most of us, though, there are defining moments. Maybe not just one, but there are defining moments. Can you talk about one of those defining moments for you, and what has inspired you to kind of take the step that you've taken to become a coach and a mentor and an author and all those different things? What is one of those main moments for you?
Well, I would love to. Actually, my journey started 26 years ago. When I was 26 years old, I was busy climbing the corporate ladder. And one day I was coming home from work and had this really excruciating headache. And I thought, well, gosh, this is not like me. I didn't think much of it. I took a couple aspirin and went to bed. And ultimately, though, I ended up going blind in my left eye.
Wow.
And yeah, it was devastating for me. And my mom is a nurse practitioner. So we were living in Minnesota at the time. She whisked me up, took me down to Mayo Clinic, where they told me that I had multiple sclerosis. So very devastating for me as a 26-year-old woman who was just, had her whole life in front of her. And they were telling me and preparing me for all sorts of scary things that could happen to me. But one of the things that served me really well over time was that from the beginning, I said, even though they are, preparing me and telling me that all these really scary things could happen to me, doesn't mean they have to. Statistics are for groups, and I am an individual, and I intend to be in that tiny percent over here that does very well. So I know that really did serve me well over the course of the 26 years. But let's fast forward to 4 years ago. So 22 years later, I found out that I had been misdiagnosed with MS.
Kathryn, can I pause you for just a second? I want to get into this. I'm really excited about this, actually, where you're taking this as well. But one thing I think that I know that I'm curious about, I think our listeners will also be curious about, is where did you learn to step outside the box for yourself when you were told that here you are, you've got MS, right? And we just learned that you were misdiagnosed, but you were told that you had MS. How did you step outside of that a little bit and say, hey, I am an individual. I'm not a statistic. I'm not part of the group. Where did you learn that from?
I learned that from my parents. As a child growing up, that was always an approach that they took whenever any type of adversity hit. It was always, let's take a look at how we're looking at this. And my father was diagnosed with leukemia when I was 9 years old. And so I had this role model in my life whom I loved, that I watched him go through the process, and he was told time and time again that there was nothing that they could do for him. And I'm so happy to say that he is still with us today. So
wow.
He was a great role model, a man of huge faith. And so I leaned on that throughout my own journey as well.
I appreciate that. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you there. So you found out then years later that you were misdiagnosed.
Right. And actually, the new diagnosis is more severe.
Oh,
so
wow.
Again, 4 years ago, I was devastated again. And my mom whisked me up again, took me down to Mayo, where an expert in the world on this condition called neuromyelitis optica happens to practice out of Mayo in Rochester, Minnesota. And my mom went with me to the appointment, and he walked in the room, and the first thing he said to me was, "Are you Kathryn Ford?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Oh my gosh, you don't even look like someone who's had MS for 22 years. let alone something more serious. And I said,
Wow.
I said, I'm going to take that as a compliment. And he said, you should. What are you doing besides the medication that we've had you on all this time? And I began to tell him all of this research that I had been doing up until that point. Was 22 years worth of research for my own well-being and my own health, really into holistic and complementary medicine, tapping into the power of my mind and the power that we all have within us. And again, really leaning on that strong faith that I have as well. And he said, oh my gosh, don't stop any of that, of course, just, none of that. And in fact, you should be sharing what you have found that works for you with other people, because obviously it really works. So he was the first doctor that told me that. And I kind of filed that in the back of my mind. Well, the appointment went on and he said, I was at that point doing for 16 and a half of those 22 years, every other day injections of a chemotherapy type of drug for MS. And he said, when is your next injection? And I said, this evening. And he said, no. He said, unfortunately, he said, those injections are harmful to people with your diagnosis. And literally, Stephen, I closed my eyes. At that point, I didn't know how much more I could endure. I closed my eyes and I thought, wow, you mean for 16 and a half years, I've been on something that was actually working against me. And I think he was holding his breath the whole time I had my eyes closed. And I opened up my eyes all of a sudden because it hit me. And I looked at him and I said, you know what, doctor? I have a very powerful mind, and I've been working at developing that power. And I thought those injections were helping me, so I know they didn't hurt me. And he just got this huge smile across his face and said, we are sticking with that.
It sounds like a major relief. He probably was thinking, oh no, not a malpractice suit.
Exactly. So I thought, it's not going to do me any good to just continue to, to feel bad about that or have resentment or anything like that, because we all have an inner pharmacy, and our inner pharmacy is releasing chemicals in response to our thoughts and our feelings 24/7. So when we are happy and living a life we love living, our inner pharmacy is just releasing all sorts of beautiful sparkling chemicals that are really healthy for us. And when we are in a state of stress or we're feeling certain toxic feelings, our inner pharmacy is releasing too much of that, which is actually harmful. We're bathing ourselves in whatever our body is releasing every day. So I already knew that. So that's why I quickly shifted, after I was able to release my feelings, quickly shifted over to finding the gift in it. And one of the gifts, that these injections were difficult for me to stay on. And I thought, well, the good news here is I don't have to be on those anymore. So that's kind of the path I took from there. Then just to quickly fill you in on what happened next, they changed my medication and I was not able to tolerate that medication and began experiencing life-threatening side effects. So I made the very difficult decision to go off that. And in doing that, I knew that I was going to have to really rely on what I had researched, what I had found, and to go even deeper with it, because it was going to be the only thing I had was the way I choose to live my lifestyle. And from there, I founded Excellence Institute 3 years ago and did exactly what several doctors after that first doctor told me, you need to share this. So I thought, I'm going to put this into a system because it's easy to follow when it's a system. I practice this every day for my own health and well-being. So that's where Oceans of Wellness came from, and that's how it was born. It's a 7-step system for living a life of excellence no matter what. I happen to have been on a health journey. Other people have other journeys in their life. And it doesn't matter what has happened in our past, what you're facing right now. We all can thrive and live a life of excellence no matter what.
That's fantastic. I really appreciate that. Kathryn, you said something in there that really piqued my interest. You said that in the midst of that situation, and as the doctor told you that, hey, he'd been poisoning you basically for the past many, many years, and he was waiting for your response, you mentioned that you had to find the gift in that scenario. Can you talk a little bit more about what you do, or what some of our listeners can do when they're faced with a difficult situation to find the gift inside of that situation? I love that concept. Would you mind expounding on that just a little bit?
Certainly. It's something that I work with my clients on and give them lots of tools to be able to do it, because when we can shift our perception of anything that's happening to us, it makes all the difference in the world. And really nothing is good or bad until we deem it as such. So one of the things that I coach and mentor with my clients is to really take a look at the situation and look for the gift, because there are gifts in everything, even when at first it doesn't appear to be so. And one of the things that helps me do that is to stay in a constant state of gratitude. And this takes a little work, but with lots of tools and support, it's absolutely possible for all of us. And Wallace Wattles, who wrote the Science of Getting Rich book, talks a bit about the power of gratitude. And it helps us find the gift. And this is just a quote from Wallace Wattles. He says, "The whole process of mental adjustment and atonement can be summed up in one word: gratitude. Gratitude alone can keep you looking toward the infinite and prevent you from falling into the error of thinking that the supply of riches is limited. And to think that would be fatal to your hopes." So I love that. Being able to just pause, take a deep breath after, of course, we've released our emotions, which is very important. We don't want to push them down or back in. We want to release them. But after we've done that, to say, how can I look at this differently? Because I know throughout my 26-year journey how powerful that inner pharmacy is. So when I can make that shift and ask myself, how can I look at this differently, and begin to open up to the gifts that this situation has presented itself to me with, it's just a beautiful way to live in a great transition, and instead of staying stuck in that other space of toxicity.
So, Kathryn, you mentioned about giving a healthy release of your emotions. How do you do that in a healthy way? As a man, I'm thinking, okay, I need to find a punching bag.
That is an individual. It's very individual. We all express ourselves differently, and what works for me may not work for you. But one of the things that I love quotes, and I've got a quote here from Dr. Seuss that there's a lot of wisdom in Dr. Seuss. So he says, "Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind." So for me, it's about expressing how you feel. It's about releasing that through your words, whatever, in a healthy way, whatever you need to do. But it's very important that we honor the way that we are feeling in any given situation.
I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I understand that your clients call you the queen of self-care.
Yes.
And you've got 3 top self-care secrets. I would really love it if you would let us in on some of those secrets.
Oh, I'd love to. Yes. I believe self-care is the new healthcare. And my 3 top self-care secrets that I use to live a life of excellence are so very important to incorporating into our lifestyle. And the first one is to experience happiness every day. And happy means healthy. And Dr. Barbara Fredrickson's research shows us that not all things that feel good offer the same benefit on a cellular level. And one key way to live into maximizing happy means healthy is to ride the wave of helping or being supportive of someone else. And truly one of my favorite prescriptions to prescribe to my clients is that of helping someone else when you're actually experiencing a challenging time yourself. It's amazing. So happy means healthy. And again, that goes right along with that gratitude piece as well. The second secret is to live in the vibration of self-love. And here I believe the largest component of self-care is love. Extending deep, pure love towards yourself will do more for your health and well-being than absolutely anything else I can think of. And it's your birthright to always feel safe, nurtured, loved, and supported. And we must ensure that an ever important dose of these feelings are consistently streaming from ourselves back to ourselves. And a lot of times people will say, well, what does this really mean for me? How do I put this into play? Well, in order to live in the vibration of love, we must go inward and rely on our intuition and our imagination. That's really key here. It's important to connect with what would really feel like we're extending love to each of us, ourselves, and as often as we possibly can to do this, to really go within. And for instance, one of the things that I love to do is to connect with nature. It fills me up. So I live at the beach here in Santa Monica, California, and every morning I take my little 5-pound Yorkie for a walk, and we may take a peek at the dolphins that are playing in the water. We connect with the birds. I've got mourning doves very close to me here at the beach, and I just connect with nature. And for me, that is extending love towards myself. Now, someone else, I recently had a male client who said, Kathryn, that nature just doesn't really do it for me. So we worked at finding out what really fills him up. And then that's exactly what we began incorporating into his life. And Louise Hay, who is the queen of affirmations and the founder of Hay House, says, there's only one thing that heals every problem, and that is to love yourself. I love that. And then finally, this next one is really fun. My third self-care secret is relentless pampering. Now, don't you love that, Stephen?
Oh, I love that.
Yes, it's so important. So we have to explore what true pampering means to your body, mind, and spirit, because pampering is different for each of us. And we must honor what it is that indulges or gratifies each of our own personal desires, and then allow those delicious feelings to wash over every cell in our bodies, So it's very important. And again, people will say, well, I'm not sure what relentless pampering means to me. So I have a wonderful little experiment I like to do. And I'd ask that everyone listening now goes ahead and does this after the call, because it's amazing what will all open up for you. So I'd like you to set aside 15 minutes of quiet time and source a list of self-care pampering ideas that really resonate with you. So just take the time to sit and list anything and everything that you can think of. And oftentimes the first ideas that come out may not be your best, because they've been sort of mulling around in your mind for a while. So just be patient and just keep on listing, and then go back and circle the ones that have the most energy around them. So just scan your list and circle maybe the top 3 to 4 of ones that have the most energy. And finally, I ask that you put them on your calendar. I use my calendar as a sacred tool. It's amazing. Once it's on my calendar, it's going to happen. So try that little experiment. I love to do that, and it's amazing what will all come up for you. And it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be a walk like I take every morning. Now, don't get me wrong. My favorite boutique spa is in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I love to spend a long weekend there, but it doesn't have to cost a thing.
Yeah, I love that. Here's, as you were talking, can I go back just a little bit into those 3 different secrets? Because as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking of what if I was in a really bad place. And I know a lot of people are coming from that. I mean, there's a lot of people that suffer, abuse, both personal and or verbal or physical, or a lot of other ways. I know that there are people that experience death in the families, or just things that they would term bad. In those kind of situations, or in those situations where you make a certain determination about yourself and you place a judgment on yourself, and maybe you're saying to yourself, hey, I'm not worth it, or I don't love myself, or you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't like what you see. How do you in that situation, that scenario, how do you love yourself? Meaning, how do you get that vibration that you were talking about, that vibration of self-love, from that kind of a standpoint?
That's a great question, Stephen. You need to put in place different tools. I believe in support. It's very important that we have tools and different ways to support ourselves. And one of them actually can be found on my website, KathrynFord.com, and it's my free Be Well Daily Affirmations. They arrive in your inbox Monday through Friday, and they're a beautiful way to lift your vibration and live from a whole new state of being. That's one way. Another way is to be sure that you're setting aside a time during the day for yourself. That's just for you. It's so important to begin connecting with yourself and your feelings, getting in touch with your feelings. We have an amazing mind-body connection that's available to all of us, but it's all about getting in touch with that. So when we're feeling that we're not good enough, that it's difficult for us to extend love towards ourselves, it's just important to do some, like the sourcing exercise I just went through. Surround yourself with affirmations and surround yourself with support. People like Strongbrook can help you really grab what you need and move forward in your life.
I appreciate that. I think you're right. I think, so often we feel like we have to experience what it is that we're experiencing on our own.
Right.
And one of the things that I've learned, and I think you're talking about here, is just about all of us, we're all experiencing the same things, and they show up in different ways and in a little bit of different formatting maybe, but we all get to experience the same type of things. We're going to experience relationships. We're going to experience the business life and failure and success, and we get to experience all these things. And by reaching out to other people, having that support group, having individuals that it can say, hey, you know what, I've been there and done that, and this is what I experienced, or this is how I got out of it, can really help us to really broaden our understanding and feel like, oh, we're not alone. Oh, I don't have to do this all by myself. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why I put together my Oceans of Wellness, to be able to, I believe it's my purpose in life. I thought, with everything that I've been through, I really wanted to take what I had been through, take all of this research that I had done for myself and share it with others. I do believe that's why I'm on this earth at this particular time, because I wanted to do some good with that and share what I had learned. So the 7-step system is, again, very, very supportive and gives you the tools, the waves of wellness to be able to move through situations. It's all about full spectrum wealth. And what I mean by that, it's wealth with your health, wealth with respect to your relationships. There's power in healthy relationships, and your time and money freedom. There's a lot of stress that comes from an imbalance in that time, money, freedom category. So it's full spectrum wealth, and Oceans of Wellness addresses that head on. It's really all about the beauty of knowledge and tools to apply directly to your life, so that you too, all of us, can live a life of excellence no matter what we've experienced in our past, no matter what we may be facing now. It's possible for all of us.
Awesome. Really appreciate that. Now, your next book coming out here is, it says here, February 10th of 2016.
Yes.
Be Well, a 7-step system for radical healing. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that new book that's coming out in February?
Oh, I'd be happy to. I'm so excited about this. This book is part memoir, so it's partially my story, and then the 7 waves of wellness are woven within it. So it's an amazing book. Bob Proctor is endorsing it, so I'm very excited about that, and some other wonderful people in our.
Really exciting.
Yeah, so it's going to be releasing February 10th, and it's going to be very, very exciting.
Awesome. Well, we'll all look out for that. Is that going to be available on Amazon? I'm guessing your website probably as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So tell me, we've been talking about self-care. What is your number one self-care strategy?
Well, I mentioned it earlier. My number one self-care strategy that I really relate to is that practice of gratitude. And when I say gratitude, it's gratitude within everything. Everything that happens to me in my life, I go straight to, after I've released whatever frustration or whatever it could be, the example I told you about the doctor indicating to me that, gosh, this medication was working against me all these 16 and a half years.
Yeah.
Once I released that frustration, just moving into a space of, I know, I trust, I know there are usually more than one gift. We love to have our gifts come to us in Tiffany beautiful blue packages, but I'm here to tell you that sometimes some of the most amazing gifts come to us disguised in tattered and torn packages. And it's very important to remember that. So I just move to the gift and finding the gift, and I do that through my practice of gratitude and just asking Spirit to help me see it differently. And I open up to, and I ask to see those gifts, let them be revealed.
Great. Thank you so much. Now, you and I have met on a number of different occasions, and I can say from experience that you are an extremely youthful woman. I just did the math, and I was like, "There's no way," and it kind of took me off a little bit there. But you talk a lot about maintaining youthfulness, which is obviously very, very apparent with you, and it's something I think that a lot of us are interested in, and you've got your coral cleanse that will be available to everyone in the Strongbrook community here soon, and we're very excited that it's launching exclusively here. Please tell us a little bit about this amazing course.
Oh, it's phenomenal. And it's so exciting because my clients I hear from them all the time. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm younger. My husband has made a comment, or my wife has made a comment that I'm looking younger. It all has to do with our inner world. And that's why Oceans of Wellness and the Coral Cleanse are truly a fountain of youth, because it's an ocean lifestyle for our inner world. These 7 waves of wellness promote our inner pharmacy and just help our inner pharmacy release all kinds of sparkling, beautiful chemicals. And so that's why it starts to show up in the way we feel, in the way we look, in the way that we move through our life. And it's so exciting. It's beautiful when we see these types of results. And I am very thrilled that it's going to be available to everyone, the Strongbrook community. And it's just so important that we understand what's going on in our inner world really does affect everything else, including our youthfulness, including how we age. And there's amazing scientific evidence on telomeres, they're located on the ends of our chromosomes. And science has confirmed that we can affect how these little telomeres perform over our lifetime. And that includes how we age or not.
Wow, fountain of youth conversation. I love it. But when we can back it up by science, which is what you're doing here, that makes it even that much more powerful. So excited about that. And like I said, Kathryn, you're a walking testimonial for what you believe in and what you've been able to do in life. And I know that that's one of the reasons why you are a sought after coach and mentor and speaker and author in so many different facets and ways, because people see the living proof in what you're doing, and it's really, really exciting. So one thing that I'm also very excited about is you had mentioned before coming on the show today that you've got a free gift for our listeners. Can you talk about that?
Oh, I do. They can access this free gift at freewellnessgift.com. And this is a beautiful tool. It's 5 keys to discovering your personal expression of self-love. So this is one of the tools that they can use to tap into what specifically does that mean to them. So it goes through a little bit about what it is, the definition, that I believe that self-care is the new healthcare and that the largest component of self-care is self-love. And then it takes you through a series of questions to tap into your own unique being and what does an expression of self-love mean to you.
Fantastic. Excellent. I'm really excited about that. Again, everyone, if you want to get that, can you say that one more time, that site?
Yes, it's freewellnessgift.com.
Excellent. Freewellnessgift.com. Thank you so much, Kathryn. I'm sorry. Maybe I should say your name right. That would be a good idea. So, Kathryn, really excited to have you on the show today. So grateful that you took your time. Are there any last, maybe parting thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Oh, well, I just have a quote from me myself that I'd like to put out there for everyone. I really believe that we must first learn to fall deeply in love with ourselves to the point where it's natural to take care of ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much again. And this has been Stephen Michael Miller with Kathryn Ford. Just an amazing individual. So grateful that, Kathryn, that you were able to come on the show with us today. And I know that our listeners are really excited to learn even more from you. If you do want to hear more from Kathryn Ford, make sure that you get onto the vault, get into the Strongbrook Mentoring Network vault. If you don't have access, there's a lot of different ways that you can get access to that. Talk to the person that invited you to come listen to this show. You can also, go through and find us at strongbrook.com. We're so excited to have you here. And as always, we will be continuing next week, inviting more amazing thought leaders, innovators, people that are the experts in their field. So again, and very grateful for Kathryn, for her being on the show. Kathryn, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm just sending oceans of wellness and waves of success to each of you in every area of your life. Be well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And to our listeners, we'll talk to you next week.